Last time on our all monk adventure, the Day of 10,000 Fists, our party of intrepid monks is in their second interlude session. They were called together in their approximately teenage years for the first Day of 10,000 Fists of their career. They survived together, spent 10 years going on assorted journeys, wanderings, and adventures apart, returned to face the Tower of Challenges, succeeded with flying colors, and now you all are back out in the world, resolving different issues from sort of your backstories and your interests, but mostly dealing with the rising threat of the demonic cult, the followers of the Heavenly Demon, a group of martial warriors and ritualists and cultists and just all sorts of scary folks who are following an incredibly powerful, enigmatic leader who seems to want to destroy everything because you all might have not killed directly, but were perhaps present at the death of one of his sons. Ty has taken up the mantle of one of his sons, a Black Flame prince of the demon cult, and is sort of starting a rebellion, a third party faction. Little Fear has successfully recovered three of his four missing sort of childhood friends who were swept up by the demonic cult. The Silence has been researching herbalism and alchemy in the capital, expanding his pocket dimension into a full blown alchemical garden and potion making operation. Show has been researching the origins of the Day of 10,000 Fists, trying to pin down some of his strange experiences and perhaps his own origin, while also starting a new faction, a sort of parafaction group of the more reputable sects and groups, trying to help more challengers survive the Day of 10,000 Fists. And Snikt has just kind of been along for the ride,
I'm just
following,
here for a good time, y'all.
He likes some books.
yep, following Ty in some of his antics. Um, in the background of this, of course, the demonic cult is still rampaging through big parts of the world, even though Ty is undercutting some of their strength by taking out their strongholds. The Saris family is maybe still out there looking for Snikt specifically. We haven't seen them in a while, but that doesn't mean they're gone. So, with all that said, who thinks they are ready to jump back in first?
I could go.
All right. So, what are you up to now? You have acquired some an alchemy master and some apprentices. You have gotten your sort of pocket garden built out. What is next?
So first of all, I'd like to try to sell some of the potions they have created. Like the masters created and the apprentices, and sell them for their value to get some money back from them.
Let's call this. Pick any dice you like and roll and just tell me even or odd.
Ooh. D20, I'm going odd. Yes! Nat 1!
All right. So that actually works for you in this case. Um, so they actually managed to offset their own costs. So roll. Give me a roll 1d6 for me.
Got it too.
So, I mean, really, they're still exceeding expectations. You discover that the land within this secluded garden is fantastic. Under the guidance of this alchemical and herbalistic master, you're able to precisely fine tune all the different elements of the soil and the atmosphere, and to do it in like localized areas. So you can grow desert plants and jungle plants and plants from the mountains, from the plains, whatever. And you can create sort of perfectly materially and sort of in terms of their spiritual energy, perfect locales to grow these things. So we're going to kind of bump time along because this was not a small operation to get started. I would say you're probably 3 or 4 years in at this point. But you have already made back all the costs that you invested in them, and you have made 20% over top of that. So we're going to say that it was 10,000 gold to set them up. So you're going to pick up 2,000 gold, and all of your initial costs for setting them up are covered.
Well, that's better than I thought. All right, and then the extra 2,000 gold could now go to the shop and look around to start preparing to buy better armor or cloaks and stuff to not be so easy to hit.
Let's get the cloak of invisibility.
So as of right now, you are using all of your attunement slots.
No, I thought I had one open.
Um,
Could be wrong. It'd be alright.
well, your crystal knife uses one. It wasn't set to attune.
Gotcha.
Um, so what you might be looking at is trying to figure out something that is better than what you have right now, which is going to start getting you outside of a store. You're going to be looking for something more intense than just that. That being said, in the Razor Mind, there is. So you are a full inner disciple of the sect. So that means that you have access to some of the best resources. You have sort of the inside track on everything, direct access to masters, techniques, items. But you're still in like the lower end of the inner disciples, partially because you're not able to be there a lot of the time. Partially because you were stuck in a cave for 3 or 4 years, and then with your various adventures. If you were to go back, there are certain trials and sort of examinations you could undergo to become a senior disciple. And as part of becoming a senior disciple, there is an item called a psychic shroud that you would be able to make as part of that process.
Yeah, that seems like a great use of my time.
All right. So with your pocket garden in tow, you set off back to the Razormind sect, off in their sort of mountain stronghold. In the... I know I put them in a region. Here we go. Up in the North Mount, sort of the Barrier Peaks. Let's name another region. The North Mount, sort of a wall of mountains and fortresses that blocks off the northern end of the realm. So you begin to make your way back. And we'll put a pin in you for a second because... so the silence is leaving. I guess Show has already departed, so we don't have to worry about that. So you return to undertake this trial. Have we named your master in the Razormind sect?
I don't think so.
All right. Then I'm going to do what I've done for everyone else. We're going to go with one of the iconic NPCs in the Razormind supplement. So the
So
master...
it's going to be Qui-Gon Jinn.
So the master who has trained you the most is Master Tormy. Tormy is a slightly older halfling woman. Monks tend to slow in the aging process as they get more powerful. So she still looks relatively young, with sort of long reddish blonde hair, very youthful face. But you know that she has to be at least in her 60s, probably. When you return, there's a hero's welcome. You have your new shiny champion's token from this last round of the Day of 10,000 Fists. You are a hero of the sect. Normally someone who wants to undergo these trials has to wait like years for everything to be assembled. But for you, they rush it. So it's put together in only like 6 months. So Razormind elders gather from all over the region, all over the realm. Distant masters who are in far-flung locations, you see them coming back every day, more and more of them. And they don't just like, most of them don't just walk back. They like appear out of a teleportation, like a burst of energy, or they ride some kind of giant eagle, or they come in a flying carriage pulled by fiery horses. There's very much a sort of festival atmosphere. There's a couple of other apprentices who are almost the same age as you, because even though you've taken a while, to be honest, you're more talented than them. So it has taken them longer to be ready for this test, and they are kind of getting swept up in your test. So because it's the Razormind, there are a lot of unusual exercises as part of this trial. Because you're not just supposed to be honing your skill, like your physical skills, but also your mind as well. There's literally a written exam. There are like long philosophical question and answer sessions with some of the elders who are sort of poking at your understanding of the mind and the spirit and how they fit together. There are trials that are basically puzzles and riddles, things that challenge you to tie your mind in knots. Just for the sake of interest, give me an intelligence check with advantage. Let's see how you do.
Are you? Oh my gosh! I quit rolling. That was a 3.
This is painful. I don't know what's happening for you. Usually it like kind of resets over a week.
Right.
I
Oof.
quit.
Um,
I got something turned on or something to like debuff me or something.
disadvantage on all checks, but we're not going to tell you about it.
-3 on all rolls.
I
Um,
don't think. I think the 3's my highest roll tonight.
Oh man.
oof.
Yeah.
Yep.
Your lowest roll yet. So you, all of the like, all of the discussion, all of the like written stuff, goes really well. You're easily pressing through, but there are more complex challenges. Yeah, I think I know what happens. So you push through most of your trials with no problem. You know the information. You between you and the sound, you just have this incredible, inhuman ability to process information. You've learned all these things. You've been prepared. You're ready for it. The very last part is something more like a spiritual trial. In a eerily reminiscent moment, you go down to you go down back to the heart, this sort of purple crystal heart of the Razormind sect, deep under the mountain, and you're invited to sort of enter into a meditative state again. Normally, folks who are at your skill level crush this part of it. It dredges up kind of mental projections that you have to defeat, and it's no problem. There is something strange when you do it. You're led down to this familiar space, and this glow of the crystals is all around. And you begin to meditate, and you find yourself back in that same space. No. In the same space that you found yourself during that long season of meditation. And this time, there are people observing from the outside. Inside, you find yourself stuck in that vision of that crystalline figure being pursued by that tentacle-mouthed, gray-skinned creature. And this time, the people outside can see, as you fall deeper into this vision, gray flames start to flicker around the edges of all of these giant purple crystals. The room itself gets dark. And you're falling deeper into this state. You're sort of in this vision, you're in the footsteps of this crystalline figure. You're running, you're fleeing. This creature pursues. And then the vision suddenly stops. And I don't mean that it ends. I mean that it pauses. Like someone has pressed a button on a remote. Even the mist that was sort of hanging in the air freezes exactly in place. But the thing that's pursuing you doesn't freeze. It stops in a more natural way. And it sort of looks around. Like it's not quite sure where it is. And then it looks at you, and the image of that crystalline figure breaks. And you know that it is looking right at you. And it sort of leans down, and you hear its voice in your head. Ah, I found you. And suddenly you are wrenched out of this vision. You come to, and literally all of the Razormind elders have either a hand on you or a hand on this crystal, and they're pumping this purple mental fire through it, trying to push back this gray. You realize your skin has gone sort of pale and gray and ashen, and you come back with a all of the elders look profoundly troubled. And we'll put a pin in you there. We'll come back. Who is up next?
Sure, I'll hop in.
All right, so when we left you, you had just defeated, I think, the
Number 5.
fifth Black Flame Prince. So you've now taken out, I think, 3 of these guys.
Technically, the first one I didn't kill. Then the other 2 I did.
I mean, you defeated him and then let him get eaten by a giant carp. It was a whole thing.
Well, I don't know if we ever really defeated him. We defeated his men, and he ran. And then we met up with him at the end, and he was kind of killed by the carp. And then we killed the carp, and I took his stuff. And now I've killed 5 and 6.
Sorry, correction.
Personally.
You have killed 2 of them, but you have looted and desecrated 3 bodies.
Well, of course. Well, I mean, if you think about it, I'm still, a demon worshiper, and so it's not like they're going to need the stuff, and it's not like I want the stuff to be in someone else's hands.
All right. So there are 4 Black Flame Princes remaining. You're starting to get up to the ones who are at about at your level. The 7th prince was approximately equal with you when you were going through the first day of 10,000 Fists. After you picked up his power, you sort of rocketed past number 6 and number 5. 1 through 4 are like some of the generals in the demonic cult. They have their own sort of private fortresses and soldiers and things, but they're also commanding large elements of the entire demonic cult. So what do you want to do?
Well, you know what? If we draw up a map, I'm gonna assume like the rest 1 through 4, they kind of have like a region that they patrol and kind of maintain. We're gonna go to 4's region just because Actually, no, we're gonna go to 3's region. Skip 4 for now, and then we're actually gonna do the same tactics I've done before. We're gonna start trying to coerce 4's or 3's men to join us. We're going to, take it top shots out of his forts. And honestly, we're going to try to annoy him enough that he comes out for a full frontal attack. And that way, maybe with my trades with the poison clan, I can, set up a poison trap and really, really mess with 3's army.
All right. So you said you're going to have number 4, though, right?
No, we're actually changing it to 3. We're going to leave 4, go to 3. Right. That way 3 is hopefully not expecting me to skip 4 and go to him. Her. It.
I think number 3 is a woman.
Then her.
So these are going to start getting a lot harder.
This is why I'm planning out more of, actually weakening and chopping off their power before we just go into a full frontal assault like we've done for 5 and 6.
So let's get some checks on the board. We're going to do some opposed rolls here. What skill or stat would you say you are using for this plan?
Oh. I don't know. I want to say I want to use one of my higher level stats, but they don't make sense. Ow. Would it be more like a deception check, I'm guessing? No. Intimidation, maybe? +0, though.
I mean, it just comes down to how you want to approach it.
Well, I'm just trying to think of which stack I make sense of how I want to approach it. Maybe at first we'll go stealthy. We'll try and pick off his outer forts and outer layers and some stranded people around, or like lone people. We'll go stealth first and get a lay of the land and have his power.
All right. So this roll will be sort of for your scouts heading out. And I'll say this too. Snikt, are you still sort of traveling with Ty at this point, or what's the plan?
I think that Snikt has gotten bored and wandered off.
All right.
How do you get bored of besieging forts?
It gets it samey after a while.
It's like, have you met Snikt? So yeah, go ahead and give me a stealth check to kind of see how well your scouts handle this.
Come on, scouts. They didn't do too well. I wasn't around. They got 12.
Let's compare it with... Yeah. Your hope is that by bypassing number 4, you will catch number 3 off guard. But you discover that, or your scouts, unfortunately, discover that she was waiting for them. Again, this isn't a sort of upstart young, sort of young despot. This is a hardened warrior. The information that you've gotten, it sounds like she's probably in her 30s or 40s, and has been on the battlefield most of her life. None of your scouts come back. So you have no particular information about what's going on. What do you do?
We need a new plan. She's waiting for us. Does like any of her like forts like rival sort of like the like the territory I've acquired, or is she just in a completely different region?
So you're kind of scattered. I think that you were mostly centered around. See what notes I've taken. I don't think we've ever said exactly where you are.
I'm not 100% sure.
I think you're probably towards the sort of the central plains. You're a little bit closer to the the imperial capital than a lot of the other demon princes, which is a little more precarious if the imperial army decides to go after you. But it's also probably helping to shield you from the other demonic forces. I would say that she is. She's actually probably in the North Mount. So it's a very sort of wintry, frigid, mountainous region. There's really not a lot going on there except there are sort of military forts that sort of block the borders.
Gotcha. She's kind of useless out there by herself. Trying to debate which plan I want to take. All right, new plan. New plan. Obviously, 3 is kind of useless. I gain nothing from being out there in the north, besides a mountain stronghold, I guess. But we don't need that. Is 4 in a more better standing, or is 4 also in the middle of absolutely nowhere in a desert?
In part because of the way that they look at the world. More powerful demonic cult members tend to be more isolated. There's very much a vibe of extreme, only the strong survive, and the extreme environments bring out the strongest.
I'm going to assume the Demon Lord's in the middle of a volcano.
Yeah, something like that. Although, actually, I'll say this. You would surely have heard this. People don't actually know exactly where the Demon Lord is all the time. And you've heard of at least a few examples where it seems like he's just out there wandering.
Then we need to increase our influence here. I'm saying if we're so close to the capital city, if I try to go there and make allies with the capital, let's be a diplomat. All right, war is overrated. After my failed stick outs, be a diplomat today. Sorry, I keep changing my plans here, but my information's changing on the whim.
No worries. So you're going to try and send envoys to number 3.
No, not to number 3. The center capital city.
Oh, you're going to reach out to the imperial government.
Yeah, the Imperials.
Oh, okay. Whew.
Real big.
So what's your gambit here? What's the what message are they bringing?
My message is this: I'm going to show off the peace I've created and my kind of holds I've established, my regions. I'm actually going to be suing for more of a peaceful terms of these are my fortifications. These are these demon cults are under my authority. I'm not here to cause trouble, burn down villages, and steal and corrupt. I'm trying to sue for peace, and that way, if they have to go to war, I can be like a lord that they can call on. And I also send some men to war.
So, two things. One, you did literally, your forces literally just recently burned down a bunch of places.
But we made amends.
So, I mean, it's still going to hang over your head just a little bit here. Number
I
two,
I understand.
I'll just say, so essentially what you're trying to do is go legitimate.
Real legit, and I now have two other Prince cult robes to trade over for as a power. You're saying, look, I've killed two demon princes. What have you done? I'm making moves to eradicate the demon cults.
Is there some rebranding happening here? Or are you presenting yourself as like Demonic Cult Junior? Diet Demonic Cult.
Right now, it's diet demonic cult. Like I'm a demonic cult that's out to kill and eradicate every other demonic cult, and then at the very end, we will reevaluate everything else about my standings. Once I've killed the demon lord and I've taken his robes, we're gonna reevaluate a lot of things. But for now, we gotta be legit. Gotta build some allies, and they're really close, and I need to cover my back door. I'm gonna be pissing off the other four who are actually strong. I need to cover some flanks.
So let's start this off with a persuasion check with advantage. And your advantage specifically here comes from the Poison Way and the Halpid family tenuously supporting you.
You gotta be kidding me.
Oh my gosh.
You're a 5. Guess I'm really screwed over.
Uh, they're not going to turn this down immediately. What are they going to do?
Yeah, I already produce a lot of goods. We can set up new trade routes with the Imperials. But to do that, I need to capture some more forts. I kind of need more materials, don't I? I need more people.
Man, they're going to make a hard ask, and I got to decide what it is. So here's what I'll say. I think with roles like that, you're not going to be able to go about this openly. The message you get back from your envoy is the Empire of 12 Crowns will never accommodate a demonic cult, big or small. But there is sort of a subtext. And basically what it says is you can't present yourself as the demonic cult. You've got to do something to give yourself some distance. If you want to try again, you could maybe present a different identity, and possibly, depending on what's in it for them, the Halpids and the Poison Way might back you as a different group.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, the plate's hot.
Just like I'm my way. Hot plate, hot plate. All right. I think I can come up with a new identity already. We're going to call ourselves the Inquisition. Again, led by me, the Prince. No longer the Demon Prince, just a Prince now. And as the Inquisition, it is our written duty to hunt down the other demon cults. Except we will probably continue with our same practices of if they want to join us, they can. That wink, wink. Just we're now the Inquisition. Or maybe we could be the Dragon Age Inquisition. That way we're still.
So, in that case, give me a give me a deception check with advantage.
Let's go, dice. Try not to kill me. We're getting better. We got 10.
So, I think this just takes a while. I think you're sort of starting to catch up with where the silence is chronologically. You've managed to take out 6 and 5. You've established all these forts, and you don't get to go yourself. Like you're too recognizable to go and sort of be your own envoy. So you're working through these other members. They're going to all these meetings. You're getting sort of messages back and forth. It's a process that takes a long time. And you're not doing nothing. It's a time to sort of train and recruit, to build up your financial network, because you've still got to sort of grow into all the areas that the Crescent Vale Trading Company was occupying. But yeah, this goes back and forth for like a year before they tell you absolute no to the demonic cult. And it takes you another year or two to kind of rebrand. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow process of essentially kind of creating like shell companies and new uniforms and banners and sort of shifting the story. It's basically a disinformation campaign that takes a while. But eventually, this... what would you be called? I feel like Inquisition is good. I feel like Dragon is good. I'm trying to figure out how to put them together. Dragon Quest. Nope, that's already a thing. Yeah, I think this Order of the Dragon Inquest or something like that slowly starts to take off. What would be the name of your trading company? The sort of economic branch.
Oh.
Ties imports.
Tie imports.
Just imports, no exports?
Yes.
Tie delivery.
All right. So you manage to rebrand, and doors start to open. And it's complicated. It's more complicated than being this sort of rogue element that's always in danger. Because now you have to actually like get along with people and have partners and alliances and all of these things. But you get there. And it means that when you're ready to attack number 3, you might actually have some backup. So let's bounce over. Lilifear, what are you doing while all this is happening? You've rescued 3 of your friends. Because you've sent Snot off with the Ancient Way. Luna and Athena have been rescued. And Straunt is still with the Violet Flame Demon.
Wherever she is. Well, I guess I'd drop off the 2 girls back home and check in on the other people there. And then I guess investigate into where this Violet Demon Lady is and how risky it would be to make contact with Straunt or whatever.
So here's my question for Ty. How willing are you to help Lilifear out in this?
Like if it comes to a confrontation with the Violet Demon Lady.
Well, due to the fact that I'm really certain that she will throw me under the bus to the Demon Lord eventually. I mean, Straunt has probably been a really good asset in my time of rebuilding. It's going to be a tough one. I'd like to see if you 2 can work it out, and Straunt, maybe his path has diverted more over to the Inquisition, the Order of the Dragon Inquisition. Maybe he's more on the path over here than.
Like my thing would be more, as long as it's his choice and he's not being, like mind controlled or manipulated by the Violet Lady would be my thing.
As soon as Lilifear says this, like, that she is profoundly manipulating him. Like, it's just her entire thing. Like, she's a decent fighter, but really she is a consummate manipulator.
Seems likely.
Look, this is why she was sent over to inquire the peace or the terms from the Imperials. No.
she did her mind tricks on them.
No. She probably would have gotten caught. Then we'd be in bigger problems.
True. She might have made things worse.
Look, if you have to get in a fight with the Violet Flame, I'll back you up, Lilifear. You've had my back in 2 of these tournaments. I got your back here.
I appreciate it.
I can afford to lose her. I'll probably be able to replace her. Anyone under me, maybe like 4 or 5 steps below me is fine. Is not replaceable, but everyone under that, pretty replaceable.
Well, okay then. I'll keep that in mind.
All I have to do is like try and go capture another fort or something and collect some more fools.
There you go. Yeah.
Maybe have a cool banner of me on it saying, "I want you." Just like It's your time to join the Inquisition to defeat the rest of the demon cults. And then reevaluate our stance from there.
The other demon cult wants you.
I mean, yeah, that is an option to. If you wanted to make sure that he was in a better position, you could sort of flex your authority and say that you want to take him as a personal disciple.
Good.
And you would do, yeah, like a subtle.
I mean, I do have 2 spare rooms.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
she
we'll see.
would.
I'll do those.
It would be almost impossible for her to outmaneuver you on that if you are willing to do it.
It'd be almost impossible, but look, Lofier, we're gonna. How about this? I'll take him in as an intern. He can apprentice under me for a little bit, and we'll reevaluate his abilities in like a year's time.
There you go.
We are tossing the term apprentice. They're now interns.
Yes.
He will intern for me because interns are far more responsible than apprentices.
Right.
I will give him an unpaid summer internship for experience and his resume.
And he has to work 40 hours a week minimum.
Getting coffee does not count as part of that work.
When he's on coffee runs, he must clock out first.
So let's make a roll here. So because this is sort of happening to one of Lilifear's NPCs, let's have Lilifear roll persuasion. But you're going to roll with advantage because Ty is going to help.
Chris, I hope your cursed rolls don't like affect us for the rest of the night. You started this.
If you can beat a 3, you're better than me.
I didn't do advantage.
Oh, good.
My add-on isn't working.
Oh
never
my
mind.
gosh, you guys. What is happening?
I don't even know.
That was just
Yeah,
weird.
Harrison. That's all I know. Is I blame Harrison.
2,
all his fault.
9, 9, 2, 5, 2, 7, 1.
I rolled a 10 in there somewhere. I rolled a 10 somewhere.
I'm just doing the number on the die.
Yeah. Like without any bonuses or anything, yeah.
No, I still rolled a 10 without bonuses.
You got a 20 on a. You got 20 total on a stealth check, but everything else was under 10.
I get my own dice next time and not use computer.
Use physical die. Maybe it'll have a better
Well,
time.
let's
thing.
see how well she can spin this.
man.
I'm still gonna give you. This is still a good deal, so I'm gonna say this is gonna give you a +5. So she's gonna have to beat a 15 on a deception check. So we're gonna say that she has a +5 in deception. And let's see what she gets. She gets a 22. Despite the fact that this seems like a really good deal, she manages to talk him out of it.
It'd be like that.
And I would even say part of how she does this is she keeps him away from you as best she can. She makes sure that
There's no direct interaction between.
Yeah, like he's always off on a mission somewhere else, doing something else.
She's always speaking for him.
Yeah. All right. So that does not work. So we'll let you contemplate more extreme options, and we'll check in with Snicked. Snicked, what you doing?
Well, mostly just wandering around the world. I do think that one objective that Snicked has, apart from experimenting with new fighting styles, is trying to find magic items that seem like fun. And right now, what sounds like fun to Snicked is gotta go fast.
All right. So let's look at what you got. Let's see. So you have your boots of striding and springing, which gives you better jump, but doesn't actually improve your movement.
Correct. Snicked also thinks it would be hilarious if he could find a way to be substantially stronger than he looks. Like as strong as a giant.
So we're going to call these investigation checks.
That sounds fair, and also not great for Snicked.
What we'll do though is we're going to say that these are at advantage because
Oh, good.
you're able to sort of swing some of your social weight around. You have some background with sort of your merchant connections, but more than that, you've got that champions token, and people know you're walking around with money. So you've got some options. So go ahead and give me investigation with advantage.
So with advantage, my 4 becomes a 9.
A 9. Boots of speed are no problem. You easily find some boots of speed. Let me pull up the magic items prices. Not that there are any perfect magic item prices for. Oops, that's on my other drive. For 5th edition, but it's not a bad resource. Excuse me. Sane magical prices. Maybe needs a better name. All right. Give me. So with a 9, I think that you're not able to get. With a 9, you're not going to find any of the belts of giant strength.
Bad day.
Not at least part of this action. What I will say is that you perhaps hear rumors of this. And know that it is possible that they're out there somewhere. So boots of speed are about the best improvement you're going to get. So give me a persuasion check with advantage.
Yay. First good roll of the night, a 22.
Nice.
That's not true. There was that 20 on stealth, wasn't there?
Let's see then. You find boots of speed for 3,000 gold.
Wow, that's a good deal. Yes, please.
Although it is worth remembering, I don't know if you've had them in 5e, they are way less good than they were in older editions slash Pathfinder.
Yeah, not a permanent boost.
Well, and they're not actually haste.
Hmm.
So you find that if you want them with that check, you can get gauntlets of ogre strength, of ogre power, for 7,000 gold.
Gauntlets of Ogre Power. Remind me what that does.
I think they put you to 19 strength.
Then that sounds like a good old time.
Yep, they put you up to 19. The thing to bear in mind, though, is that they are both attunement. But I guess that's not too
Yes,
bad
but
because your boots of striding and springing are less good. So,
yeah.
all right.
Huzzah!
So the only reason why you pull this off with like a 9 or a 10 is that you've just got a while. Like, you have plenty of time to just wander from city to city. You end up like, I think the stories of this strange little blue kobold who just has piles of money and no social graces, you've become like an urban legend in this era.
Yes.
Like, people invite you to things because they're like, he's such a funny little guy. And then when you do something like ridiculous, they're like, oh my, I didn't expect this to be quite this bad.
Accurate.
But you are finding that you're not quite untouchable, but you're pretty strong. Like, between your actual combat abilities, your wealth, and your status as a champion, you are mingling with the top, 1% of the realm. They don't know what to do
And
with you, but you're there.
they don't know what to do with my offers of candied bugs either.
Yep. I think you're actually causing like a small uproar, as candied bugs are spreading. Like, you
Making
you like towns that hear you're on the way suddenly import a bunch of candied bugs, and they'll be like waiting at the auction house for you. So, yeah. How does Snicked respond to suddenly being sort of like powerful and wealthy and sort of respectable for a given value of respectable?
I think the short answer is bemused, befuddled. But I think also, given just my personality in general, I decide to run with it and see what crazy stuff can happen before people start to decide this is too much.
All right. So yeah, you managed to track down these items. Um,
Swim in a few fountains in the town squares.
you can do the Bruce Wayne, like, I bought the fountain. Um, you do also still have the core of the uh, Dragon of Regret.
Oh, that's right, I did end up with that, didn't I? I
Uh,
guess I should figure out what I can do with this.
so, just to sort of put my cards on the table, I do have a legendary sword that it could be turned into.
Ooh.
And we can make it a short sword so that it, works for you.
Is that a crack at my height?
I,
The
I'm,
minute
I'm, I'm imagining this scene as like Snicked is like reading the narrator text in the comic of his life and like turning and yelling at the narrator.
Right.
Snicked has just become part Deadpool.
A little bit.
Yes.
Has Snicked just become part Deadpool, or has Snicked always been a bit like Deadpool?
Snicked is manifesting more of his Deadpool nature.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to find somebody who can do something with this.
All right. So give me. This feels cruel, but I don't really know what else to do with it. Give me an investigation check with advantage.
No, that's fair. It was almost a pair of 5s, but I got a 14 on it.
All right. So you are surprisingly integrated with some of these like high-end markets now, which is what happens when you drop 5 digits worth of gold. Um,
I didn't crash any local economies, did I?
no, because you're playing in a weight class where like people do throw this amount of money around, and it doesn't. It doesn't upend the world all the time. So you hear rumors of a master artisan. They used to do a lot of work for some of the sort of traditional sects and orders, but they haven't in several years, and they seem to have sort of holed up in a small town, kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
And I think we'll put a pin in you on the way there, and we'll jump over to Show. So Show was starting this organization to start training people after they come out of the first day of 10,000 Fists.
Yes, unless there's a way to tell who will be called before they go.
Give me an Arcana check with advantage. We'll say that you're still. Where are you wanting to set up this order?
Yes, in the little makeshift city that like try to where it normally appears. Everybody will be there anyway. They won't have to leave. It'll give the city a little more permanence.
All right. So in that case,
In roll 20, and it rolled a nat 20
nice.
and also a 4.
So I'm going to say that this. You get the impression that this is doable. You spend a while studying just sort of studying the gate, studying the marks, as you start gathering all these people together. It's not even necessarily a. It'd be hard to put it down on paper to explain exactly how you know. But eventually you start to get a sense of. It's almost like you can just meet a young fighter and you can just kind of tell if they've been marked in this way. So you're setting up in the 10-year city. You're starting to understand how to do it. What are your other priorities in setting up this group? Like, what are you doing and how are you doing it?
building building a physical building is definitely chief among the what I'm doing. Got to have somewhere to be. Um, I'll probably use my connections with the Iron Body Clan to get word out of what I'm doing, and inviting anyone who has been in the Day of 10,000 Fists to come and train with me, and potentially train others who may come. Um, for anyone who shows up, I will be honest with them in my reasonings for this. I want to, I want people going into the portal to know what they're getting into, but also let them know that there may come a time where things try to come out and we need to defend our world. Um, so yeah, trying to recruit, building a physical building, trying to recruit people, and then seeing who among them might be willing to help train others.
All right. Then let's get some checks and see how this goes for you. So let's start with we're going to call it a charisma check. And this is going to cover both sort of getting the word out and also the logistics of getting the building built. So,
15.
what did you say it was?
1 5 15.
All right. Yeah, I think there's a lot of guidance. Maybe more so than a lot of others. The Iron Body clan is more spread out. They have more branches. Just because of the nature of what they do, sort of doubling as this mercenary outfit. And so they're able to kind of tap some connections and put you in touch with companies they trust, which means you don't get ripped off in this process. And they also
Very
carry the
nice.
word for you. And the fact that it's the Iron Body clan gives credence to what you're saying. So you begin to gather these fighters. We're probably only a couple of years, maybe maybe 3 or 4 by now, because you were at the library for a while and then came here and then got buildings built. So we'll say we're probably 3 or 4 years in, and you're starting to actually get students. It's definitely tilted towards folks who just came out, basically, of the portal this last time around.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't imagine if I'm ever able to figure out how to tell who will be called. I can't imagine it would be easy to spread word of how to tell via letters and stuff. I feel like that would take a while.
Yeah, I think you sort of accidentally find some, but it's just like a handful. Like you just happen to meet someone who like is traveling with the work crew or things like that. Um, so now let me look at your stats and decide how to do it.
Probably just let me do it. No rolls necessary.
uh, I mean, you're definitely going to achieve something. We just want to see how well you do. Roll insight.
$16. Not bad. Not bad.
All right, with a 16, yeah, this goes pretty well. It's a slow start. At first, not that many people are interested, but once you get the facility built, it slowly begins to pick up. And I think it's aided a little bit. Not even necessarily as much about the specific goal, but just in that a lot of families want their kids competing against people of other sects and families and clans. And so it starts to become this sort of like neutral space where younger fighters get to know each other, learn from each other, and just generally improve. And it starts to snowball. You start to pick up more teachers. The Iron Body Clan is eager to help. The sub abbot sends some apprentices to help. They provide healing, which is really important for you all. And there's some marked improvement. It's sort of the equivalent of like, basically they're going to go in a level higher than you did. But more than that, they're going to actually know each other and trust each other, at least some of them, more than they would have otherwise.
Yeah, a big part of this is show wanting to make sure fewer people die for what is essentially a game, but also prepare them for the horrors they may find or that may come to our world.
I can't remember. Did you have a name for this place?
Joe's School of Not Dying in the Portal. So no, but I will think of one.
All right. I think maybe that's what it's just called for now. It just gets called the Nameless Academy. Or the Nameless School. That sounds better. So the school gets up and running. They're learning. They're growing. Just did some snicked. Let's jump back to the silence. So we pick up the silence. You've had a little time to recuperate after your harrowing trial. Since you left, you have felt sort of this consistent feeling of being watched. Almost like you're picking someone up on the other side of the room who is looking for you. And do you know... So, even though it ends up pretty... Even though the trial itself didn't go as well as you would hope, you still are considered to have passed. This sort of outside intervention wasn't really something that is your fault, necessarily. And so one of the elders of the Razor Mind is going to start working on your cloak. It's going to be a while before it is finished because it's sort of psychically paired to you. Is there anything the Silence would want to do while he's sort of at home for a while? Is he there? Is he muted?
What do I do?
I have no idea who's that.
Silence, are you with us?
Yeah. Sorry, my headset was messing up.
Oh, no worries. So they counted it as a pass, but you've had this feeling of being watched ever since. One of the elders is working on your psychic shroud. What do you? You've got some time to kill, basically. What would you want to do while you're home at the Razor Mind sect?
So I don't think they want me to meditate on the giant crystal again. What necessarily is there to do?
If you wanted to, you could look at what it would take to advance further in the sect. You could potentially look at starting a full branch of the sect somewhere else, making yourself a branch master in the process. You could teach some of the younger apprentices, the interns. You could potentially do stuff with managing your alchemical garden.
So, first, I could look into starting my own sect or becoming a Grand Master. I'm not looking to becoming a Grand Master.
So, are you more interested in moving? So, you've got kind of two routes. You could move up within like the main branch of the sect and potentially try to aim to become like the master of the Razor Mind, or you could go and start a new branch somewhere else that could potentially grow to the point it becomes a new sect, but that's going to be like a bigger goal.
I think we're gonna shoot big. We're gonna start our own sect.
All right. Where would you be looking to do this?
So, I'm assuming I can have a bunch of like of maps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then could I pull in like a bunch of people that have traveled around to ask them where like, do you feel like the best spot for us to set up like the most spiritual, where get the best spiritual growth, be most connected?
Yeah. So I think that you've got a lot of options when it comes to this. Master Tormy is someone who travels a lot with the sect and has a really good idea of, kind of where the sect is doing the best. So you got some options. If you set up in one of like the big capital cities, you have access to a lot of students and a lot of resources, but also a lot of competition and potentially more sort of drama. You could go to a more extreme environment where the sort of spiritual energy might be clearer and easier to use, but it's going to put you farther out from sort of mundane resources. If you wanted to be really crazy, there is the Broken Lands. um, which is a super dangerous region that had a sort of supernatural catastrophe in the past. And the rumors say that it was actually caused by the Empire. But it has left it rich in dangerous but powerful spiritual energy.
Ooh. I really want to go extreme. So if we go extreme, then we can pull people from all sorts of places, like masters and stuff.
All right. In that case, so setting up in the Broken Lands is going to be pretty intense. Are you trying to? What would you want to do to like recruit people to come with you?
So I'll talk up like a big hype game of like how well this will advance them and how much stronger this will make them above their normal opponents. For the first part, I'll figure out a way how to make a path, but like one of like those kind of like little hidden paths that kind of show themselves to only the people that are looking. I'm sure we could find like enough wizards to kind of seal it. And then in the first days, hire out like villagers and stuff to come out there and build up like a fortress to keep it safe, and then also have mercenaries out there. And maybe ask Ty for a few of his following to help protect the lands.
So you have a pile of money. But here's what I'm going to tell you. This is ridiculously expensive. You've probably got enough gold to do most of this. It's just that you're not going to have. So you want to build a fort, build sort of the training facilities you need, try to set up sort of a hidden, sort of like an illusion to protect the place, like a secret path. You need to recruit other teachers. You need to recruit staff. You need to get resources. I think this is fully 27,000 gold.
I got that.
Hey, you know what? I got a good trading company. I might be able to help them get resources.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's taking that into account.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh. They'll leave me pretty much broke, but I could do it.
I mean, and it's pretty impressive. This is the kind of thing that, like, usually, like a well-established family does over generations, or like a small branch is planted by a major branch and it grows and da da da. You have a little bit of support from the Razor Mind because you're using their techniques. You're not truly independent yet. But they're not like dropping a lot of money on it. So I'll say that this is probably like the rest of your interlude.
Absolutely.
So you get it set up. The alchemists are able to now kind of use both inside and outside the space. I think part of what you're able to do with some of this money is you're able to set up some permanent doors to your space so that your alchemists can kind of come and go in and out of the school. Um, yeah. What are you going to call this new branch?
Oh, oh, easy, easy. Because this is obviously heavily influenced me at the time, we're just gonna call it Valhalla.
All right. So you have set up this new branch. Um, so let's see who we've got left. So I guess I'll phrase it this way. What do folks have left they want to try and do before the end of the interlude?
Well, I'm still tracking down the
Oh, yeah,
the
Master
sword.
Artisan. What else is on our list?
I'm currently just in the goal of rebranding and alliances right now.
All right. So we have a rebranding and the founding of 2 new orders. I guess we'll say Lilifear. What's one more thing you'd want to try and get done? You're on mute, son.
I'm on the path of being muted. I say I'm on the path of shooting the Violet Lady in the face. I think was about my only leftover thing to do.
Well, didn't no, that's right, because she wasn't able to pull it off, or he wasn't able to pull it off.
Yeah, no, yeah, she out decepted or whatever. She did her manipulative thing.
All right. So with Ty's help, you at least know where they are.
Mhm.
What would you do to try and find him and convince him?
Hmm. With all this mind control stuff on, I'd almost want to recruit the Silence to help me, like, read into the, oh man, uh, Stout's mind just to make sure he's, himself in there, or whatever you want to call it.
So, yeah, I
Or
think
strong.
that's not too hard to set up. We'll call that like it's a little bit like one comic character appearing in another one's comic.
Yes.
But you don't look too closely at the timeline of like, wait, weren't they over? No. Um, the Silence. Give me an insight check with advantage.
I told you guys I quit rolling.
I don't do rolls anymore.
I'm taking a break from the whole rolling thing.
Haha.
There it is. It was saving up for this all night.
You got a nat 20.
Oh, nice.
So what the Silence learns is that the Violet Flame Demon has been oh so careful. She has never technically used the coercive power of the demonic way. But she's a master manipulator. And the reality is, she doesn't have to.
Right.
She has built herself up as the hero who rescued this kid. Rescued him from the rest of the demonic sect. Taught him how to defend defend himself, made him powerful and important. Uh, it's not magical, but there are still
Mm.
layers of control winding through his head.
It's like a Sith Lord sort of thing or something.
Yeah, like
Okay.
it's not actual mind control, but it's
Right. It's
the
almost
effect
worse.
is indistinguishable.
Well, because yeah, mind control you could end just by taking out the person doing the mind control, but I imagine if I came in and just beat her up or killed her at this point, it would make things worse for because he would just see that as me being the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
So how that's tricky. So we need to be able to talk to him and somehow get him to see that she's not everything that she says she is. I don't have any ideas.
This is a lot harder than just being like, I punch it, roll a die.
No, yeah, I just wanted to shoot her in the face with a cosmic bolt and then be done with it.
It's like,
It's easy here.
how do we unpack 15 years of trauma?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah,
It's super easy.
I bring a professional therapist with me,
You
and
just
we do a
kill the
group
kid.
therapy. Yeah, shoot the kid in the face. Nobody will see it coming. We should get the Violet Lady a therapist. We could do some therapy on her.
And that was when the demon cult instituted mandatory therapy. They folded within a year because no one was willing to be in the demonic cult once they got healthy.
Whoa, we can't do that.
No psychological analysis of demon cult members allowed.
Hey,
No,
hey,
no, no. Everyone is invited. Bring your trauma. You can pack it in bags, and we won't care about it.
Just
hey,
put it in the closet.
Red Flame number 776. What, Red Flame number 777? I think this might be a cult.
Are we the baddies?
We got matching outfits, and we all live in this complex together, and also we burn up our life force in red fire and kill people.
Sacrifice Greg every other week. New Greg, all Gregs.
I think you're right. I think this is a cult. My therapist was right.
I should have listened to that guy.
Instead, I burned him alive. Well, that's on me. That's on me, you know.
Yeah, I'll have to own that.
I kind of want to do the continuing adventures of like do like the lower decks, but for
Right? Yeah.
the demon cult.
No, I feel like
Well,
776 and 777, those two demons, they cults, they survived like every battle, and at the end, like, hey man, that was crazy.
Yep.
There was just random fires just bursting every here and there, rockets of fire going across the sky. I mean, this felt like an actual war zone. I thought we were just a cult messing with another cult.
Then
Like a lot of people died.
they come back
Oh,
at the
no,
beginning of the
they're
next
there.
campaign as like the tavern keepers.
That finally got out.
They're like, you know, we used to be in a cult. We know a thing or two about the world. We've seen some things.
I watched one guy in Flames of Purple just absolutely incinerate another guy in Flames of Purple. And then he looked at us and he said, "What are you looking at me for? Get back to work." As if he didn't just incinerate some other person.
Oh god.
Crazy stuff we did back then when we were kids.
You know, the typical youthful indiscretions.
There's a poster on the wall that says you don't have to be combustible to work here, but it helps. There's a hang in there poster with the kitten on a branch, but it's over like a pit of lava.
The tree is on fire.
There's like a picture. It's Ty, and somebody says, "We want you to join the
That's good.
Inquisition."
Pointing at people.
The fingertip is on fire. Anyway, bringing us back. So,
Uh,
we'll. I think what we'll do is we'll just put this to a roll. Because we, the players, might not know this, but Lilifear grew up with this kid. Lilifear, I think, is going to know what's going to help. So let's have Lilifear roll persuasion with advantage.
okay.
Let's take a peek.
And
Let's
don't
see what
forget
we
the
got.
chloroform.
And if all else fails, drug him and kidnap him. Oh no. Green froze. There we go.
Hey,
Nice.
Oh, what's going on? Oh, computer went nuts.
So 19.
No,
So
there we go.
I think this takes a while. I think it's hard. I don't think there's any one silver bullet.
Mhm. Be over the course of several conversations.
Well, and I think also part of it is Ty pulling some strings to just keep the two of them apart.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, I'm finding sneaky ways where I could have conversations with them without her there, or
yeah, and I think being sort of separated out, it makes some of the hooks a little less fresh. They're not quite as solid when she's not there to constantly redirect his questions and keep confusing him. And it takes a while. At first, Straunt is confused because you seem to be an affiliate or a cohort of this Black Flame Demon Prince, this sort of ruler of this sect that they're a part of. But you do it carefully. You make sure that you all are sort of assigned to things together, and I think what really sort of unwinds it is not so much attacking her, but diving back to things that matter, to connections from before all of this started. I think Snot even gets in on it. Because we've established that Snot can kind of speak through fire. And so when Snot realizes the two of you are together sometimes, Snot also starts sharing things in the messages for Straunt as well. And there's no one argument. It's almost like chipping away, just trying to put a single hole in a dam. And finally, I think the last straw is you find an occasion where you meet with Luna and Athena. And it's not necessarily something they do, but it's that moment of relief at seeing that he's safe. And it makes him realize these two kids that he grew up with, this group, seeing real care makes what the Violet Flame Demon 38 has been doing. It sort of highlights how unreal it is. And he starts to doubt the things that she says. And eventually, it's not the whole thing all at once, but you manage to convey the offer and convince him, and he begins to train with Ty instead. And I think the trade-off here is Lilifear and Ty, you both realize she's going to start actively working against you now.
Yeah.
Not in an obvious way, but you just know sort of her character, and
We knew that was inevitable anyways. So.
yeah, like this was literally the first thing that you really wanted from her that she disagreed with, and now she's going to come after you.
Well, you see, here's the thing: Ty's no dummy, and Ty has known that she's going to backstab him eventually.
Yeah, even before this whole thing with
I've been
Strawn.
holding on to her for a while now because she's been kind of a valuable asset, but I'm no longer like a fledgling. I've kind of spread my wings. I've got other abilities brought in.
Now she's
not
just a pain in the asset.
She's not as useful anymore. Her more liability side is becoming a bigger liability than useful.
Yes.
So essentially, and due to the fact that she's kind of put a hassle on me and Lilifear's relationship with Strong, she might not be working for us. Her employment might be terminated. Due to how high she is, it might be a permanent termination in general.
I think that
the Terminator.
So here's the interplay here. You don't trust her, reasonably so. But she also knows that you've never really trusted her. So on the one hand, so one day she's just gone.
Mm-hmm.
But so on the one hand, she was able to stop you from knowing when and how she left. But because you have been sort of subtly steering her away, she didn't really have access to too many ways to like really hurt you all on the way out. So finally, we're going to jump back over to Snikt. So Snikt, you're hunting for this master. And they're just out in the middle of nowhere. We're going to say that they are... They're actually on the Red Coast. So this is the western end of the empire. It's relatively close to the Barrier Peaks. And there's a capital here that is sort of wild and crazy. It's sort of the international city of the realm. It's sort of a New Orleans in its heyday kind of vibe. But that's not where this guy is. Basically, he's in a shack off of this red sand beach. Like 50 miles up the coast. And the only reason you're able to find him is that, like, once a month, he takes a cart into town and loads it up with, like, one bag of food and, like, 10 barrels of, like 200 proof alcohol.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
It's basically lighter fluid. It's paint thinner. And then just goes back. And just to see how this goes, give me a persuasion check with advantage. Let's see how hard this is for you.
All right, well, 16 isn't bad.
Nice. So I think what you really have going for you
Is that I'm small and cute?
well, I'll just say you're unpretentious, which goes a long way. This smith is a they seem to be a fire genasi Aarakocra. They were called the Phoenix Smith for a long time. And at first, they just want nothing to do with you. But after a bit, they realize, like, okay, they kind of see past, like, you've got some really fancy gear, but, like, you're not, wearing, like, ornate robes or riding in a palanquin or something.
Yeah, really fancy gear over top of untreated leather.
Yeah.
While eating a bug snack.
Yes.
Another thing that helps you is because of this style that you have trained in, you have an unusual energy to you. I think in sort of stereotype fashion, you go visit this person. On the first day, they want nothing to do with you. On the second day, it's like raining, and they're like, just fine, come in. Simple meal together, then some alcohol, still saying no. On the third day, like, down on their luck, bandits come and try to attack. And this Phoenix Smith picks up a hammer, and the hammer bursts into flames. But by the time they pick it up and kind of stand on their unsteady, drunken legs, you have just beaten the crap out of these guys. And there's kind of a begrudging, like, it was all right. But you can tell you're sort of slowly breaking through. Finally, when you pull out this core of dream spiritual energy, finally the Phoenix Smith says, fine, but I'm not gonna like it. And starts to gather materials and set to work.
I kind of think it'd be funny, like, yeah, he's like, I want you to make me a great sword. The Smith, like, looks at him and tries to decide, it's like, how do I tell him he's too small for a great sword? And then just, like, make it smaller without telling him.
With
it's like,
gauntlets of ogre power.
Yep.
Right.
I say great sword, and he chooses to interpret that as a fantastic sword.
Yep.
Yeah.
A great sword.
This is a great sword.
So over the course of, like, I don't know if Snikt wanders off and does other things, but it takes, like, fully a year to make this sword.
There is a massive sandcastle out front of his house by the time he's done.
He just keeps hanging around, like, is it done yet? Is it done yet?
I think every time Snikt says, is it done yet? A whole new sand building appears outside. Like, eventually, like, it looks like a village has sprung up.
Right.
And slowly the sword comes together, and the sword seems to be made of, like, imagine the refraction of a crystal without the crystal. It's almost sort of an imperceptible distortion in the air, with the faintest impression of, like, mist and light in the shape of a short sword. And I will send you the stats for that before next time. When you hold it, you can feel the dragon. Something about the dragon is still alive in this weapon. but you can also feel that it is powerful. And so I think now we sort of zoom out and we catch all of you at different phases. We see Sho. You finally rounded up maybe a dozen people who are about to go into the gate for the first time. Maybe 40 or 50 who have been through once before, and maybe a handful that have gone 2 or more times. They're more like your staff. There's even an elder who has been through 5 times, who is helping you. So we see you sort of not just training their martial arts, but training how they think, how they interpret what the Day of 10,000 Fists is. And we see sort of simultaneously all of them, some mark on their body begins to glow. And the same one, or a similar one, glows on Sho. We see Lilifear sitting on like the cliff's edge of like a big dark stone mountain. Looks like it's carved out of like obsidian, looking down over the demonic cult arrayed below. But you're just having like a chat about old times, and your mark starts to glow. We pull up and we see Ty even further up, sort of surveying this growing empire. A huge sort of war table laid out with the remaining 4 Black Flame princes and a tall sort of white figure off the edge of the map, to represent the heavenly demon in their unknown location. We see Snikt holding this glimmering blade, kind of moving it gently through the air, and the symbol burns. And we see the silence. Teaching new disciples of this branch sect, as it starts to take root in this desolate and dangerous but powerful region called the Broken Lands. And all across the realm, folks begin to make their way to the 10-year city. And that's where we'll come back next week. And hey, we got through our decade-long interlude in 2 sessions instead of 7.
Right? A new record.
We were trying to speed run.
Yep.
If you're watching this, everybody is playing a custom original monk subclass. You can find all of them on DM's Guild. You can either go there and look up Colby Whitaker, or you can find me on Twitter at DM_hagiologist. Also, Eelbach's Book of Cruel Curses and the Curse Bearer Fighter are still on sale. We are only 5 away from going copper on both. So if you go check that out, those are still on sale. And I don't know, I'm probably just talking to bots. Do bots buy things? We'll find out.
Probably.
Advanced bots.
More sophisticated ones.
All right. Well, ladies, gentlemen, bots, and other, we will see y'all next week.